Hi, today I will continue on the TOW missile. First of all, someone has discovered what is this part, this mystery part. This thing is actually a pyrotechnic switch. This thing is manufactured today by Eagle Pisher Company. It is exactly the same part as you can see. It didn't change since 50 years or so. So there is a squib inside. There are different types of squib. I have the version H4 here. You can see the reference here, H4. So the first figure, 0.065, is the delay time between the activation of the squib and the activation of the contacts. So effectively the bridge resistance is very small, 0.28 ohms for this one. As we can see, the current carrying capacity is 10 amps for 6 hours. And also you need a current of 2 amps in order to activate the squib. I have started the test of the PLL. There are two identical boards actually, with two different central frequencies. So you can see on the screen the test of one of these boards. On the top in red, this is the input signal. In green, this is the frequency of the oscillator. This is the signal on this collector. In yellow, this is the input of the DCO and the output of that system. And this is the signal here. I am going to change the input frequency. Currently, the frequency is 814 Hz. The range for this board is approximately 820 Hz to 870 Hz or something like that. This is the response of these two PLLs. You can see that the relation between the input frequency and the output voltages is linear. For the first one, the nominal frequency is approximately 520 Hz. For the second PLL, the central frequency is 840 Hz. We can see that these two PLLs work perfectly 50 years after. So also we can see that the output voltage range is from minus 14 volts approximately to minus 1 volt. So the output voltage is always negative. Now I will test the input filters which are on that board. So as you can see, I have completed that board. Some resistors were destroyed. As you can see, I have replaced these two resistors by identical ones. I have placed also two transistors which were missing, this one and this one. The pins of these two capacitors were also broken. I have resoldered these two capacitors. Also the PCB was broken here. I have repaired the tracks on that area here. I think that this board is functional again. I have tested the filter board. Actually the filters are bandpass filters. I didn't say, but the capacitor feedback here permits effectively to have a bandpass filter. So this is the frequency response of these two filters. We can see that one is centered at approximately 520 Hz and the second one at 840 Hz approximately. And we can see that these frequencies correspond effectively to the frequency response of the PLL. One is centered to 520 Hz, the second one to 840 or something like that. So we can see on the screen the frequency response in real time. The board is here. So I have used the arbitrary function generator, the HMF, which is here. This one here. As you can see, it is in a sweep mode. So this instrument is also one of my babies. I have designed this instrument a long time ago. There is something interesting in the sweep mode, because you can activate the marker, which is this function here. and you can select actually the frequency of the marker, which is here. The marker is available on the trigger output of this generator, and on the oscilloscope the marker is here. So you can change the frequency of the marker. Currently the marker is at 846 Hz. So I can change the marker, as you can see. So it is possible to know the frequency which corresponds to the maximum amplitude. It is something like that. And you just need to read the frequency on the function generator here. This is 844 Hz. This corresponds to the frequency of the bandpass filter, this frequency here. So now I will resolder the boards to this interconnection board. Okay, so for the test I have connected the input of the filter to this dual output function generator. The two outputs are connected in parallel. So the signal here is the sum of two sine signals. The amplitude is 1 volt RMS. I have connected also the output of each PLL. This output here, which is actually the input of the VCO, to a galvanometer. So we can see that if I change the frequency of the right channel, there will be an effect on the deviation of the right galvanometer only. The current frequency is 540 Hz, 530, 520 and 510, which is the minimum frequency. We can see that there is no change on the left channel. So now I can change the frequency of the left channel. The frequency is 840 Hz, 830, 820. This is the minimum frequency. 850. This is the maximum. Okay, so this thing works. So you can see that there is a perfect separation between these two commands, the pitch and the yaw. This is what we want. The use of the PLL permits to be more or less insensitive to parasitic signals. The missile is connected to the guidance computer, which is on the ground, using two wires, and the wires can be a few kilometers long. It is easy to imagine that there could be large parasitic signals on the input. The use of the filters and the PLL permits to be more or less insensitive to the parasitic signals. Next time you will see the rest of the missile, the flight motor, the thermal batteries, and the gyro. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.